Good afternoon and welcome back to Plannercraft. It's been a while. I'm Natalie and we've also got... He's gone quiet on me.
Hello.
Carol was missing Ian, so I thought better do a stream. Both of us.
Yeah, as I'm here.
Yeah, he doesn't happen very often these days. So I will just wait for a few moments to make sure that we have people watching. So please say hi. Let us know that you're watching. Hi, Mum. So Streamlabs has been really useful at the moment in telling me that no one is watching, which is obviously not true because otherwise I would have just had hi, Mum. So what are we doing today? We are working with the manual blades. So that's the blue and the purple blade holder for the ScanNCut. So both of these blades are manual and originally designed to work with the CMs, but we can use them in our SDX machines as well. Hi, Eva! So I thought it would be quite fun to show the settings for the machine on the CM and then how we might change those when we go to the SDX and the process I go through so I don't try and cut a hole in my mat. Hi, Carol! It's here just for you. You'll have to let us know what you're busy doing in the kitchen. So, bit of a different view. So we have one camera set up on the SDX and the other is on the CM. So I thought I'd let Ian kind of take over on the CM side. And shall we start with a blue one?
Oh, you actually haven't got anything to cut with the purple one, have you?
No, but I am going to show a little bit of a comparison with the purple one and the black auto blade. So Ian's going to start with the CM before we get too far. In terms of what they look like, do you want to waggle them into your camera? So you can compare the blue CM blade and the vinyl auto blade because these are kind of the two closest to match. So now if you pull down the top in, you can show the blade on the no, not on that one, on the auto one. Oh dear. So you can see you've got a nice little fine blade on the vinyl auto blade, which is going to match your blue. Busy making a sofa tea.
You see that one?
It's a little bit blurry there. And bring it up a bit. There we go.
Better?
It's struggling a little bit. Oh, nearly had it then. So the idea being that they're both nice fine blades, so we know that those will do detail. So one of the questions I had the other day was, why would you use a manual blade in your SDX? And there are a couple of occasions when you're going to want to swap, especially if you don't have the vinyl auto blade. There you go. You're doing a smashing job there of getting it to show a bit better.
Better?
Yeah, that's better. Hi, Linda. So, a couple of occasions you're going to want to use one if it is particularly detailed. You're going to want to use one if the material you are cutting from is particularly delicate, or if it's a layered material. So, for instance, if you are cutting the... I did wonder, Carol. Where was I? I lost track of what now. On Carol's stew instead of a sewing.
I'm sewing in the kitchen.
So.
No idea.
I was going to say about Rhenia, wasn't I? If you're cutting some Rhenia foil paper or anything where you've got like a layer over the top of something, then it's a good idea to swap over to your manual blade as well. So, without too much further ado, we're going to start off with some paper. Now the paper is about 100 GSM, 110 that we're going to be using. So, nice and thin, and you might otherwise think, I'm not going to try and cut that. And I'll even put my matching bit onto
Which way are you putting it?
I was going to go vertically.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not going to be well.
No. So, one of the first things is when you're learning to set your standard blade is that you want to err on the side of caution, especially if you're working with paper like we are. So you're going to want to pop it right down. And the other thing is you don't have to put it on a whole number. So if you think even 1 is going to be too much,
As long as you haven't moved your label.
yeah, don't move your label. Then you can always take it down to a half. Okay, so Ian, would you like to show your settings on there as well? So decide on a pattern and I'll match you.
We're going text, weren't we?
Yes.
So, cutting out of paper. Don't want anything too intricate, do I really? Because it'll.
Yeah, because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare to get it off the mat.
Especially this one.
Yeah, you've got super duper taggy mat over there, whereas I haven't.
What about that one? Chew.
Yeah, go for the chair. I'll do mine in a bit.
I'm going to do a quick background scan because my paper is not in the top corner. I might have to turn it round. Oh, noisy machine. What's it catching?
I think it caught on the cable.
Right, bear me a sec, just move that. Just adjust the camera to that.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
So, Ian's going to move that down and rotate it. Rotate it. No. Top left.
You can tell it's been a while.
So move it into the middle to rotate it. There we go. And then resize it if you need to. So go okay. Up. You're in the right one. Up.
No, it needs to shrink.
Yep. It's on the main bit of the screen, right underneath where your pencil is.
This bit here.
Yeah.
Are they in that screen? Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. That fits. Doesn't matter. It cuts out the middle of the piece of paper, does it?
No.
No. Okay. There we go. Okay. 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 Cut. So before I go too far, Natty says he wants to see my settings.
Yeah. It's been a while
So,
since we've done the CM.
We have it on cut speed of 3, so we'll take that down to 1. Cut pressure we're going to drop to
Probably not that low. That'll do.
-5. Let's start it there. Don't know because it's done updates and all sorts since we last used it. Don't need anything else on that one, do I?
No. And hi Louise.
So we're going to let that go?
Go for it. You got what did you set your blade to?
3 even.
3? That's being brave.
Dating might take it down a bit.
It's only paper.
So, with these ones, you have to waste. I'm going to start on 2.
Down a bit lower.
You think?
No, I mean on screen, dear.
Oh, sorry. Doesn't it? Better?
That's better.
It's hard to see from here because I can't see the screen.
Yeah,
So,
I think my
as you
voice
can
is
see,
moving.
right onto 2. Drop that. If I...
You should have watched the recap last week, making the cupcake box.
I press that, so I drop my blade into there. That fitted it?
Yeah.
Yep. And we can close our cap. Again, there should be no pressure to do that. It should be nice and easy to do. And then we can press start. Play as it is.
I was going to say it's the play pause button on the UK models. It starts stop on US and elsewhere.
Haven't you all missed that noise?
That's with the microphone over by me.
There we go. So can you see what you can?
Yep, can see it's cut nice and clearly.
Can I have a metal spatula, please?
You can indeed.
You should have 2, so
I should have. You're very right, but one is over in the trolley over there.
Sorry.
Review.
I realised I'd have taken that off, sorry.
Yeah.
So let's peel off the... I'm trying not to unload the mat because I had a game getting it in the first place. Yeah, it's a CM.
There we go.
There's our waist.
Should be over there. In the pencil tops at the back. Oh. Okay. We'll share. That's fine. Okay.
Hang on, I'm going to take it off the mat.
So yeah, you're going to be braving.
Let's do it all live, shall we? More fun that way. And yes, Carol, I still mumble to myself. And there we go.
There we go.
Oh, me.
You want to move your camera a bit there, sweet. There we go.
Yeah.
So if you go right up close to the camera, you might just be able to get it to focus on the edge. Up a bit. Up a bit. There we go.
That's a nice clean cut.
There you go. So, we can then use that blade. Carl says I never said a word. He's a tease, isn't he?
A little love heart too.
Aww. So, let's switch through. So, over to me. Is that a new type of mat? It looks clear. It's actually the old type of mat. So that was the very first set of Artistics mats that you got me, wasn't it? We had a pack of 3 that you got me for Christmas.
So that's what, 5 years old?
Yeah, because that would have been Christmas 2018.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
If not before.
If not 2017, it'd be one or the other. So it's very funky having the clear mat, I have to say. As much as I like the white one.
See, I like it.
So, I'm going to go to pattern. I'm going to go to my word designs. And what size did you do your chair?
No idea, I just shrank it to fit.
Okay.
Do you want me to look it up?
No, it's okay. So I can set that onto my mat. Now the difference being, I can go to Object Edit, rotate, and it can be clever enough to realise that it needs to move that object. So there's the first difference with the CM. Okay, and it needs to shrink down just a little bit. Just a bit. Okay, so I'm going to cut it once with the, I'm going to be mad, and do it with a standard auto blade.
You haven't got another sheet of paper.
It's okay, I can fit 2 on there. Yeah, I can fit 2 on there. So I'm going to do one with the standard auto blade. I'm going to go okay, okay, okay. Nothing like experimenting on the fly. I'm going to go into my settings, and because it's my standard auto blade, I know that I usually put that down to -9 anyway. And, you know, ideally it would be even lower because we're working onto paper. Now at this point, if you wanted to change the cut amount, you could do. Again, that would make it so that it's a little bit less pressure on the paper, but I'm just going to keep it at default for now, just so that you can compare. Oh, and because I've been doing vinyl, what did I not turn off?
Half cut.
Half cut. So I want to make sure that we're doing our proper cut as well. And I'm going to go start. Hi Karine! So what we're doing today is we are using the manual blade in the SDX. So I'm just doing a control version of the file using the standard auto blade, so that's the black cap one. And then I'm going to swap to the standard manual, which is the blue, tealy blue one. So, given that we weren't here last week, did you all have a good week? Did you do anything fun and exciting, or have any news?
Sorry.
What?
Warp sense of humour.
Okay, so straight away we can see that there are going to be certain details that are pulled. So that's okay, don't worry about it. We're going to swap our blades over. So I'm going to start that a little bit lower than what Ian had it. So I'm going to drop it down to, let's drop it down to 1. And I'll pop that in. And I may be being a bit overly cautious.
See how she doesn't trust me anymore.
So I'm going to go back. It's more so because we're doing it with the SDX, you see. I'm just being a bit... Okay. So, I've moved my file across so that I'm not accidentally cutting over the top. And let's give it a go. So, we're going to go into cut. We're going to go into our settings. And this is where things are going to change slightly to what we usually do. So at the top here we've got our cut speed and cut pressure, which is where we would normally expect to change our pressure for our blade. Now because we've gone to a manual blade, you have another option underneath, which is your cut pressure manual blade, and that's the pressure it's going to use. Yeah, I think my dad's on about his 6th, Carol. So, with that in mind, we can vary that pressure, but also the good thing about it is it's going to remember that pressure. So if you find that you always use a consistent amount of pressure with your manual blade, you don't have to worry about keep flicking backwards and forwards when you're putting in your auto blades. So, I'm going to go OK. My pressure's at -3. That's why I went down to that. So, here it goes. And let's go. Start. I don't think Dad's doctors are entirely convinced they're working for him in the first place, Carol. So it's not even a case of make them last, it's a case of give them as many as you can and in the hope that one of them works. Joyce's daddy being special. Oh. No, I don't really think I've done it enough. So if I move the camera and can you there we go. We're on the move. Can't quite see it just there. So I may have to see if we can just get it to pick it up over here. Come on, focus over here. Come on.
Can't go any further that way.
Let's see if we can get it to pick it up that way. Can't quite get it to zoom in.
Let me try something.
Okay. Oh, you can just, if you shield it, you can actually see it a little bit better. So let's just see if we can just. So our standard autoblade. That's really too strong. Come on, softer shadow. I can't see through you better than I can see through me. Our standard autoblade has done a really thick line. But the trouble is, when you have an acute corner, say like here, or on our star, it's really wrinkled it up. Whereas with our standard manual blade, it's got much nicer cut.
You should be able to see better now, but it's ruffled up the one edge.
Yeah, so you should be able to see that that star there has had a bad day. It's not quite as star shaped as it should be. So I'm trying to do this really gently so I don't damage it any more than it actually is in its cut. But if I hold that close, you can see it's kind of really pulled back on that corner. So that's going to be the type of corner that you're going to notice it most, but it's got a little less body to it. So that tight corner could be anything. That could be a join in a box. It could be that you've done a nice lacy invite. Now whereas our manual blade has done it absolutely perfectly. So we've got a nice pointy star with no pulling, and the rest of the design is totally flat.
So what we're really saying is the autoblade's a complete waste of time.
No, that isn't what I'm saying. I'm going to get onto the autoblade and what it's good for.
Let me come back to this one.
Going to go back to that one.
Okay.
So if I flick it back to you,
Okay.
I will sort
I've already gone.
I will sort out my camera. So that we can see it. Tink, tink, tink. Okay. I'm going to reset mine and you can decide on your next shape.
I've already reset mine. So what colour am I going next? Green.
We're going green card.
Are we still sticking to words or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because words are quite good at having like a curve, a tight corner, obtuse corner.
I'll put it that way this time so it's...
You're going that way, okay?
Yeah, because if it's a long word then...
I'm going to get the hearts off my Mac because I've got two little hearts.
So we're using a green bit of card. We've got a lovely bit of green card. It's quite thick, this one. Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, what, 280?
It's about that, isn't it? It's got a good wobble to it. So I'm just going to stick that to my mat. I could do with a blade back at some point.
I was going to say, you'll need a blade.
So I would say that's about a 6. So I've set my blade, as you can see there, to the
Down
line.
a bit.
Down a bit.
There.
So it lines up there nicely to the line with the 6. I'm going to drop that in our machine. I haven't picked my words yet. And what should we do this time? It's not really got any straight edges on that one. Something I've not used before.
Something I haven't used before.
What about fringe?
Yeah, because we haven't done that one.
Okay, now I'm going to do another background scan because, yet again, I've had to move it in because I don't want it to. See if I get that right now, not to rock up. Stop looking up behind this.
So, the text designs, oddly enough, tend to be where you notice the most difference between all the machines as to which ones have which files. So,
So we're going to move
as I've
that.
been busy doing the next ScanNCut book, I've literally gone through all of the shapes, so I know which ones are on which machine, so that I can kind of make sure that when I'm designing, I'm using
That might
shapes
be a
that are on
touch
most
tight,
machines.
so let me just shrink it down just a touch. So 140 by 32 precisely.
Okay, I'll go by the 140.
And again, it's in the middle of the card, which I'm not fussed about today because we're literally just having a play. Settings wise, I'm not going to change anything on there, so I'm going to leave that as -5 and cut speed of 1. Always slow as always. We're going to go OK, we're going to go cut. I'm going for it.
Yeah, you want April? Yeah.
Oh, Gabriella! You want the big one that's lit up? So let's rotate camera ready and aim it down. How's that?
Yep, perfect.
Good touch.
Yeah, because when it goes through.
Off it goes.
Oh, there we go.
I have my scraper.
There you
So, if I've done this right, which stands a good chance I haven't. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm so good. First time. See, I remember how to do this. So again, we've got a nice even cut, and even on the thickness of the card you've got no rough edges. It's a nice smooth cut and it's nicely done.
Okay,
So there's that one for you.
thank you. So I should really put these in order, shouldn't I, so that I can go, that's up. So that was yours. That was the standard blade. That was manual blade. That was yours. So I'm going to go to pattern. I'm going to change your camera. Would be a good start. There we go.
Can't get the star. Tell me.
And we're going for friends. So down to F. There we go. And 140 we said, didn't we? Oh. I'm going to add that to my map. Now my card's up in the top corner, so I can probably get away with that. But what I will do is I will do a little bit of a check, just because that 140, when you put something onto your mat, it's going to go into this top left corner, but it doesn't come into the top left corner of your mat. So if you're at all unsure, do a background scan just to check on that right hand edge.
How much quieter is that?
That is the main difference between the two machines, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we can see our friends fits on nicely. And I'm going to start off with the standard auto blade. So I'm going to go to cut. Now you're going to see it's already automatically gone back to the pressure -9 because we've just swapped between the two blades. So there's some very clever little buttons at the back of your carriage that can work out which blade you've put in. So hopefully at some point when Brother do an update, he'll be able to tell the difference between the standard auto blade and the vinyl auto blade. Would be very nice, so that I don't have to keep flicking between the two mats of pressure. But we can go and cut that. So when we're cutting with our auto blade, the first little downward motion it makes is to actually check the material first of all, to see how thick it needs to set that cut, and then it will update the time if it needs to. Now I'm using a relatively new blade, so it's probably only a couple of weeks old. So if you're wondering whether it's a fair comparison. Okay, so we've cut that, and you can see it's still got a few little pulls just on the outside of the corners. Now obviously if we're cutting out that word because we want to use the actual word friends, then that's fine. But if you wanted to actually be cutting it out so that that kind of cuts through and knocks out, then you're obviously going to be a little bit more concerned about these little notches in the corners. So at that point, that's another good reason to swap blade and go, okay, we'll go manual. So input here is at 6, so given that you had it at 2 before, I'm going to take it down to 5.5. You can get away with a bit more blade depth with card. Paper, you have to be spot on. I've just started cutting up some light up shadow boxes and going around 3 times and looking like things like trees etc. cut through. Sometimes it is missing. I'm on -9 on the 270 GSM card. I'm struggling sometimes to get the cut to come out, if that makes sense. I've been using the blue vinyl auto blade. Okay, my blue vinyl auto blade I usually end up using on -6 rather than -9, so that might be worth trying. If that doesn't work for you and you've still got your CM blade holder carrel, try swapping to it. So I'm going to go okay so that I can move this down. Let's move this down to here. Okay. We can go okay. Again, start to cut. And you can see that already it's put its pressure back to -3. Now, with the auto blade, I do find that it's better off using minimum amount of pressure because obviously it's already setting that blade depth for you. Oh, dear. With your CM blade, sometimes you get a bit more fluctuation with your pressure. So, it's worth always doing kind of like a little, not so much a test cut because they're not always accurate. But if you have a spare piece of card that you can just test something out on, particularly if you're going to be bulk making, because there's nothing worse than cutting 20 of something to then find that it doesn't work for you, and do it that way. So, let's give it a go. I even tried setting the pressure to auto to see if that made any difference. It did not. No, I don't use my vinyl blade on auto, ever, because I find it especially since the last book 1 update, it's a bit all over the shop, isn't it? So basically when it came to writing the second book, although I had backdated my driver, it was a case of having to update it to have the right screens to put in the book. So, you do find that after that 1 update, your pressure fluctuates. So what will be -6 one moment won't be -6 the next. But the half cut seems to be kind of evening itself out, which is good. Okay. So first of all, let's check its cut. And you can hear it ripping on the auto blade. It's not good. No, the auto blade hasn't cut. Has not been autoed. There you go. And that is the difference. So it's just on that first bit. So if you're getting an issue like this, where it's not cutting down one side of your mat, usually what I say is just pop your blade and your blade pressure up a notch on your auto blade. But it's rare that it wouldn't do that, isn't it? Oh well. But that's the difference. So the standard manual blade has actually done a much better job. There you go. So for all those people that are like, oh, I need a 1200 for the auto blade, sometimes the manual blade does better, because then we've got perfect cut, and you still occasionally find that you've got like little burrs on those corners, and that's a sign that you need to drop your pressure slightly. So if I was to cut this again, what I would do is lower that pressure to -4 and then just take that blade up half a notch. Yeah. It's
You'd probably do the update now though, wouldn't you? Because it skips the troublesome one now, doesn't it?
Yeah, at least if you do it now, it skips the one in the middle that kind of caused the issue. It still had a little bit of a teething issue when we first did it, and occasionally you get little weird things like the friends on there, but usually if you turn it off and back on again, good old IT, turn it off, turn it back on again, and it'll be a different machine again, and it'll be fine. So, next material. We are going sparkly. Now, over to you.
Thank you.
Which blade would you like?
Standard.
Standard, okay. We're going to be brave and go for standard. I included the blades when I sold my machine, so would you recommend buying a standard blade?
Yes.
Yes. Number one, because sometimes the CM blades are actually easier to get hold of. 2, because it gives you that safety net for a wider range of materials. 3 is going to give you a wider range in the designs that you can cut. So like your shadow boxes, if you've got a lot of detail, you can go to your standard blade and it'll probably behave a little bit better.
I'll be brave, I'm going up to 7.
You're going up to 7? Whoa.
Because of the glitter.
Yeah.
Even though it's not that thick.
Let me swap the screen. There we go.
So what are we picking for this one?
Something that's good sparkly. How about going for the, I was going to say the Noel. Or Merry
We're
Christmas.
going Christmas, are we?
No, it's sparkly. And I've got to make some Christmas cards anyway.
Let's give Noel then. Because that's got some nice flicks in it and curves. And I think my 150 is going to be too wide, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah, you're going to want to bring that in just a tidge.
I'm going to do my background scan because
You can use a cricket mat if you use a CM blade. Yes. Yeah, so basically you have the centre part of the cricket mat, you stick the cricket mat onto a rubber mat with some nice double-sided tape, like rolled tape. And then because you're using the CM blade, you can allow for that extra depth.
let's just go back down to 140 again because 140 was enough, wasn't it?
Maybe take it down to more, just a touch.
I think that's 135.
But you could also say that you could use some of the cheaper non-brand mats. So things like the Works do a set of 3. Or if you go to like Amazon, you can get like sets of 3 for silly money.
There again. We are locked and loaded. And ready to go.
So what pressure did you have that on? Still on the same pressure?
Same pressure, I haven't changed anything in the brushes, exactly the same. The only thing I've changed is the blade depth down to 7.
Should have got the foam out and then done foam as well, because then we could show the deep cut blade.
Of the spatula.
There you go.
So let's see how we've done this time.
So we've got some fun materials that we're going to be playing with, so I'm going to try and put some little videos, so some little short ones that are going to be going up with different materials, so that you can start to see how I set my machine up for different things. So we've got some faux leather paper that looks fun.
First time.
Perfect. And that's not pulled in the corners or anything, so if I, let's see if I can get that to pick that up, see, focus, there we go. Nice sharp corner, even though you'd think it would pull. The auto blade's good for speed, isn't it? And not having to worry about it and just... There we go. So we have our work. There we go. Wee, a bit bigger than I expected there. There we go. So nice and neatly done. Over to me. So let's pop my card back into the top corner of my mat. And we'll go, okay, let's get that back up there. So we can reset. My cameraman's slacking.
Sack him.
Slacking.
Sack him.
Sack him. Sack him for slacking. Okay, so now I'll 140 we said, didn't we?
135.
135. Okay. I'll make sure I match. Okay, so at this point I'm going to be hard pushed to get 2 on, but we'll see how we go. So let's start off with the standard. Now that's currently on 7, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm going to leave it on 7 just because it's a glitter card. And off we go.
Oh, so you just
I need to move my chat box down a bit. Don't turn that screen. Just a tidge. There we go. Hi Delcy. So what we're doing today is we are using the CM manual blades in the SDX and showing you how to set that up. So far the pressure hasn't moved much, to be honest. It's all done with blade depth. So in terms of when you want to change pressure, it tends to be more so if you're doing something that is really intricate, or if it has really fine points that might otherwise snap. That's when you want to be kind of releasing that pressure back down to the negative scale and compensating with your blade depth so that your blade depth will go up then. Okay, so one done. I'm going to go okay. Now, do we think that I can get another one in? I'm just going to go into Object Edit. I'm going to increase my number to 2. Let's see. Oh, it's going to be tricky. If it had just been a little bit longer, we could have nested them and you've probably got away with it. But it's not quite there. So it wouldn't be fair to go into kind of use the auto blade against that because it's going to kind of go either off the mat or you're going to have to shrink it down. But I think you get the gist from the others anyway. And there we go. One perfect outer. I'm just going to gently release that from the mat. So, as I always say, it's always better to use a metal spatula when we're working with things that have lots of detail, just so that we can slide it underneath. There we go. And we can go, ta-da! Sparkles. So that's definitely going to have to make it onto a Christmas card. And in terms of comparing, huh?
How's he going to compare the two?
Yeah. So the top one is cut on the CM with the standard manual blade, and the bottom one is cut on the SDX. Have you got a piece of black card or something there, sweetie? Towards the back. That'll do. There we go. Just to try and help it focus a bit better. You focus. Come on. You nailed it. Focus. There we go. You can see there's not that much in the cut of the actual machines in terms of difference. So when you're looking at which model to get, you're not going to have massive amounts of difference in the quality of cut. Which isn't bad really, is it, when you bear in mind that, you know, one machine is like, what, 5 years old already. So, do you want to do something a little thicker? Do you feel up to the challenge? Or we could go up to a 480 if you want to. You smell the thick one out of the...
Oh, it's quite thick.
Okay, go with that one then. And over to you.
This one's a long and thin, so I might get Merry Christmas out of this one. Okay, both got Merry Christmas?
Yeah. Basically, if you've got it, I've got it.
I know, but you're posh, so...
Yeah. Yeah, so when it comes to the designs, what you're going to find is that they do change as they go up through the ranks, so to speak. With the 1200 and the 2200 having the most inbuilt designs.
Keep talking, I'm just doing a background scan while it's natural.
Yeah. So they actually match each other apart from the 2200 has the Disney ones, so yeah. You know, my thoughts on Disney, just no. Not worth it.
So I'm letting this come in at the size that it's designed, so it's the 150 on this one. I haven't shrunk this at all.
Okay.
You have my blade, so I need that.
Technically the machine has your...
So you just put it on there. I'm going to leave it on 7, because I think it'll do all on that. So again, put my blade in. We'll turn the camera around to show the machine.
While you're doing that, I'm going to move this one as well.
And we're going to go again. This one's a lot quicker than the top speed one.
CM housing and blade in the, I think that's supposed to be the SDX machine, yes.
Okay, so that's...
Yeah, so it's exactly the same blade is going between the two machines. Not quite.
Weird.
Once more round, should be plenty.
Snagged it a bit on the E. Flatten that back out. So the joys of this one, I can just press cut and go. I don't have to go through 20 screens to get there.
Yeah, that is the difference with the CM to the SDX, isn't it? The user interface, I think, in some ways is much more user friendly because you're not going okay. It's just like okay, and I'm ready to say okay, I want to cut it. I want to foil it. So while that's cutting up that which you can add my the difference. So quiet. Okay,
Spatula.
so we have our cutout. Okay, do you want me to carry on and cut mine?
No.
Not yet, okay.
And although it caught a little bit of that edge, actually on the text, you can't see it at all. Still got a little bit of sparkle to it as well.
I was going to say,
Glitter in it.
sparkles!
So, if you want to change camera then over to you, and then that's good. Change camera.
Yeah, so I have lined up my word in the middle of my card, and then it's just a case of can I have my blade please? No. There we go. So where I was saying about those funky little buttons, if you look at your machine, because it'd be much easier for you to see your machine than it will for you to see mine, right at the top of the carriage, just in here at the top of that black line, you can see you've got little buttons, and those buttons interact with the slots on the back of the plate, so it knows what blade or pen holder you're putting in. So as you went for 7, I'm going to go for 7. So let's go and send that to cut and see how it goes. So basically, if you are looking to do something that is a lot of cutting, it's actually quicker to use the manual blade because you're not doing that testing. Oh, can I have another piece of card?
I don't know, where did you get that one from?
Out of the A5 section. Told you my mat wasn't as sticky. Got it?
I got another one just in case.
Yeah, because
I've every faith, honest.
every faith, yeah. Let's do that again, shall we? I do have a new mat that I can use if I need to, but let's see how it goes.
Actually, lint rolling.
I've already lint rolled it twice today. So it
You've
is.
done quite a bit of cutting on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's done loads of cutting.
Would you like to borrow mine? Mine's sticky.
I would do, but it won't work in the SDX. So that's the other thing to bear in mind, that your mats are not interchangeable between your CMs and your SDXs, even if you go for the artistic ones. I do wonder why they kind of registered the mats the way they did, because no other cutter does it.
But we do still have a discount code if people want.
Yep,
new,
so
artistic
if you
mats.
join our classes, which you must be if you're listening to me, then we do have a discount code that you can use for artistic mats. So while that's cutting in, do you want to just show the standard auto blade as opposed to the deep cut blade? I have some old CM mats. Can I cut out the sticky part and glue that onto my SDX mat if using a manual blade for extra depth? Yes, you can. And if you use some double-sided sticky tape on a roll, it makes it much easier to kind of apply that consistently across.
So, that is your deep cut blade from the CM.
I can't get it. There we go. Down a bit. Down a bit.
Where are you going? Put me where you want me.
You're here.
Yeah, that's all. That's my hand.
I'm trying to move your hand around.
Hang on.
There we go. That way. Go that way. There we go. So that's your deep cut blade.
Vicious looking thing.
Yep.
And then that is your.
Up a bit.
Yeah.
Take the cap off. It's easier. So you can see how your standard auto blade is actually much more closely related to your deep cut manual blade than it is to your standard. So if you think of it that in that sense, that your standard auto blade is for your thicker materials and your vinyl ones for your thinner ones, then you've got more or less the same balance as your manual blades. But as we've kind of demonstrated, you do get sometimes get a better finish, and that is just not quite got through enough. Well, that's okay. So this is what I mean when I'm on about screens. So I've got to go please select, cut, thinks about it, and then back into it, whereas the CM just literally goes back through a cut. Now I could put my blade up, or I can put my pressure up. I think on this occasion I'm going to put my blade up just a quarter of a notch. And if you listen really carefully, you can hear you've got like a
Where it cuts, where it hasn't cut.
yeah. And that's what you're listening for. And when you don't hear that, you know it's not cutting anything. So it might be that if it just missed that one place, that you think that's enough, I don't need to do anything else, that should be plenty to lift it away. Or if you know that it has like a consistent backing across that it hasn't quite got through, that's when you go, actually I'm going to have to send that around again with a bit more pressure or a bit more blade. As a rule of thumb, if it is a basic shape like a square, a circle, They can adjust the pressure. If it's an intricate shape, then you can adjust the blade. Just adjust that camera a little bit. Okay, so any questions about the CM or the SDX? Happy to answer both, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Might even answer questions about the book. You never know. So, although I was poorly last week, I wasn't sat there doing nothing, was I, dear?
Oh, wasn't it?
I was sat with a pencil sketching out the projects for the new book. So if you want to ask questions about which shapes you can find on which machine, if there's particular designs I like, which machine they're on, then you can ask me that now, because I've gone through and literally sourced everything. Okay, so now that that's gone around again, let's have a look and see how it's done. Looks promising. Okay, so we've gone up to a thicker material, so you do tend to experience a few more little burrs around the edge. And that's kind of normal, because at the end of the day, with the way that the blade works, it is going to push a little bit of material up at the edge as it gets thicker. So you'll really start to notice that effect with either the standard auto blade or the deep cut. When you start to get up to like your 480s, you're going to find that you get a little bit of lip. And that's okay, Carol, because that's nearly us for today anyway. And I'll just see if I get it to just focus a little bit. So let's put ends at the top, iron at the bottom. So you can see the difference between the two. So as I said, between the two machines you actually get very little in terms of the actual quality of cut that changes. So it's the same blade, just with slightly different settings. So if you want me to go over any of the settings, then do let me know, and I will try and pop up a photo as well with the different pieces. So there we go. What I will say is take care for now, and I will see you possibly tomorrow. We'll see how I go, because we've got like loads to catch up on. So I'll try my best to do it live tomorrow, you never know. So take care, and bye.